Encyclopedia or Team Liquid, but I'm guessing maybe top 4.
I got nothing. I haven't heard anything about this. And talking with the organizer, he's giving me a lot of detail, but not that particular one. So
okay.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I feel like I have an idea of how it would be broken down. Like I would usually be able to guess, but I don't want to give false information. So I'll just wait for maybe he's listening and will give us the deets. So we'll just introduce the players on Catalyst in the bottom right. Okay, there you go. Also for on Destruction Gaming, it is Uko. Something.
Should we go with Uko? I don't know. I honestly don't know if that's a long U or a short U. So if you'd rather go Yuko or Uko, I'm down with it.
I think it sounds a little bit cooler than Uko.
That's fair. Let's do it. Then spawning in the top left, his opponent, the Protoss blue player from Psystorm Gaming. It is Creature.
Psystorm, one of the, really making a name for themselves with the pickup of the Koreans. First it was True and his dominating performance at Montreal years ago. Then it was Gumiho, and now it's Parting and Ragnarok. There we go. It's like so close to forgetting that. So, but they have a ton of great North American players, so I didn't mean to make it all about the Koreans. It's just that they've really been put on the spot as a North American team because of a lot of their guys getting these high profile tournaments, and True moving to Korea or to North America and doing well there. And Creature's been on the team for quite some time. They actually have a very strong, like, I guess you would say a B lineup, but really it's their A lineup for, like, shall we say, born and bred in North America, I guess, teams.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, there you go. So I think that Creature was a shoo-in for the round of 4, and he did make it out of his group first. I was a little bit like, it's second or first, I don't know, but makes it out first, has some pretty good PVZ. I feel like he will do well against BioIce, but I don't actually know, but because I just said it, I do think he's going to get to the finals. I don't know what Yuko can show to us, but I think Creature has some pretty damn solid PVZ.
Yeah, and I mean, though I haven't seen him do a ZVP, I just feel like his ability to react and scout and know what's going on and macro well and micro well will translate to all matchups. That said, Protoss could just be his kryptonite, in which case he could just fall on his face. But I believe in Yuko. I'm expecting good things from him here. Got the star denial into a trapezoid denial into another weird star denial. Creature having fun. He's having fun with this probe, and there's really nobody coming over here for him to block. The drone isn't really on its way yet. No, not even really attempting. Sending the Lings out first to clear it, and then they'll send the drone out once it is safe to go.
Yeah, almost 100%, unless he's planning something cheesy. But yeah, that's what the Adept's going to be able to scout as a follow-up, and the Stargate. Creature was playing a lot like Ninja was, so I'm expecting many of the same things. Just don't know what a Zerg player has in store. Third base does, in fact, go down. This probe's going to live another day. Is the Big Mama Adept's coming to save it?
You stay away from my probe babies. Yeah, Adept sneaking on down, trying to get some damage, or just scout potentially, but really just kind of to force Lings out from the Zerg player and keep them honest, as those are larvae that could otherwise be drones and really help the Zerg player into the mid game. But having to react to the presence of the Adept means no more drones for you, just mostly Lings, and this does kind of slow them down a little bit.
We actually had a resub, Semilux. Thank you for the 6-month resub. And he says, Falcon Paladin is a national treasure and you must protect him at all costs, in caps.
Aww.
So that was more for you. And then just now, Somicron was a new sub. So thank you very much for that, guys.
Yeah, Somicron's one of my guys too. So good to see some attention from your channel as part of this cooperation. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so Phoenix is going to kill the Scouting Overlord. Doesn't see a whole lot, but not much to see at this location regardless. But denying the scout into the main is an excellent, excellent work by the Phoenix. And the Oracle is going to be the follow-up from Creature here.
Right, yeah. Phoenix first. Obviously, it tells you that it's no secret you have a Stargate to go to Phoenix, and it's actually killing my Overlord. But it's pretty rare, I want to say, to go into a lot of Phoenix, although apparently some double Stargate shenanigans are coming back. It's a Phoenix Oracle or vice versa, and maybe 2 Oracles, but in this case, Creature just goes for the 1, and then right into the Twilight Council Robo. His Archon control and timings were pretty crisp, so you should be worried for this. Looks like he's going to try and get some fast +1 melee. That's usually what it means when the Evolution Shaper is behind and is not accompanied by a Roach Warren.
Yeah, can't know what else that would be. Lair timing here at about the 4.5-minute mark for Uko as well. Queens trying to save this Overlord. Can they save it? Oh, revenge! They avenged his death. Couldn't save him. Stasis Ward comes down, catching several of these drones. What is that? 8?
That's pretty nice.
That's a good number. That's a lot of slowdown. I mean, it doesn't last forever, but that's income that Uko definitely would like to be relying on here.
We have Creature going up to 6 gateways here immediately, so we're going to have a lot of power with the charge lots added on to the Archons, even like prioritize the extra gateways for the Templar Archive, so...
Bit of a Ling. Oh, what? Did that Ling get through the wall and die on the other side? That was crazy.
Or his carcass flew forward, I don't know. Which one. Yeah. But yeah, denied there, and the third base is going down. Uko should know that he still is going to have to worry about potential charge attack. Where's that War Prism? I was like, it should be made already. Here it is. Couldn't find it on the mini-map. Going towards the main, his Phoenix would have loved to have taken out this Overlord in particular, I feel. He didn't really want to lose it when he did, but he still manages to hide the Warp-ins. Some Zerg players like to move around, but it wasn't actually for +1. He did add on a Roach Warren just seconds after I said, like, he's a Roach Warren. And this is a more sturdy way of defending against anything early game that Protoss can throw at you. Lings can be a little complicated, Queens have to be focus firing, but Roaches, mostly just let them tank, and they'll do the job, not much micro involved.
Yeah, they've got the HP required, plus they do enough damage that it goes down very quickly. A nice Zealot attack at the front here, too. Distracting the Roaches. Oh, the charge is done at the same time. This is looking devastating from Creature. The Archons getting into the drone line right now. Zealots continuing to just charge on in. Roaches do pretty well, but that charge, that extra 8 damage on the charge does a lot of work. Roach is going to go down. The Queens have to fight for themselves. 15 more Roaches in production. I think Uko's going to survive. The question is, how much damage is he going to take?
This is really nice. Unfortunately, Uko was like just barely collecting all of his Roaches together, and even then he didn't expect the Zealots on the left side, but they popped out kind of, you know, 2 or 3 at once, and they all die. The Lair dies. The Queens that have been taken out too. These are the ones in reserve, and this is just some really excellent damage. You said Uko might survive, but it's not going to be a very healthy Zerg.
No, definitely not. Losing that Lair was just crushing for him. I'm sure his heart just fell when that thing went down. Again, just going to clean out the Zealots. No big deal. 12 drones have gone down. It's 54 to 45 Harvesters. Uko's not down that much. This Archon is still just sitting in the mineral line, killing more of these drones. The micro is insane out of Creature right here, but eventually the presence of the Ravager and this number of Roaches is going to be enough to shove it away. But, I mean, 86 to 82 supply. Uko doesn't seem like he's that far down. He is replacing his main. I don't know. I don't think he's out of it yet.
I don't think he is either. I think Creature might have overtaken a little bit with the extra Zealots that ended up getting cleaned up by the reinforcing Roaches. But there also might have been a little bit of, I don't want to say miss macro, but just emphasis on the wrong units, either offensive units or pro production, when maybe he should have realized he could have been in trouble. But as it is, like, this is a very good army supply for Protoss to have, especially with this type of composition. So we've got a chance. It's quickly just falling away here.
Yeah, the Immortal is perfect for these Roaches. The Ravager's back here doing some work. Zealots charging on top of everything as well, and the Archons, if they can get shots off, are going to take care of these Roaches pretty darn quickly. Another giant warp-in of charge lots in this attack. Had a chance, but nope, that's her well played. Creature gets game number 1 pretty handily.
That was a really, really good showing. I keep using my stream deck, it's taking me the wrong scene, but it was a really good showing from Creature. That was the solid ZVP that I was expecting, whereas Uko, he didn't really do anything wrong, but the Roaches were just like a tiny little bit late, because if they were a little bit earlier, there might have been more of them on either side to defend both attacks, but they weren't that high in number. He didn't know about the second attack to the left side, and just could not recover from there, so...
No, I mean, it was a fantastic double-pronged attack in the main at the third base at the same time. Uko couldn't quite respond with the required number of units for each side and ended up losing that Lair. Impressive display for sure.
Oh, looks like we have an update about that prize pool that we were questioning. So top 2 is the prize. Top 4 will be invited to the next invitational. Cool.
Okay, awesome. Top 2, fantastic. Thanks for the update, organizer guy. He's actually in chat.
Yeah, he's around.
Hubbada.
Good introduction. Hubbada.
Hubbada. Hubbada. Here we are on Lost and Found Ladder Edition. It's going to be Uko versus Creature. Creature up 1-0, which you already know because you've been watching. But in the top right, it's going to be the Red Zerg player from Destruction Gaming. It is Uko.
In the bottom left, as the blue Protoss for Systrom Gaming, he is Creature. And I expect to see much of the same. I don't know if Uko can change it up and maybe go for something a little bit cheesier. I don't know if he's going to have a lot of different compositions. I feel like around this level of play, you know, so like pretty high there in the GM, playing a couple professional tournaments, maybe have some splashes in the WCS Challenger. Around this one, we really started like talking about what these players might be lacking of like really, really high level skills. Like it's not so much the macro and the micro as it is maybe decision making. Maybe they don't have the correct amount of, you know, bloodlust. They don't go for the kill fast enough, stuff like that. But there's also something where I feel like we still see people who stick to like one composition. They might know different builds, but they kind of stick on either roaches or Ling Hydra or some fast mutaplay. And I'm hoping, like, I think maybe this could be the case here. If you see him do roaches again, he might just be a roach player. But if you can have the varied builds and the varied compositions, then I think you really put Protoss in a difficult position. You know, when a Protoss is comfortable, it gets kind of scary. It did it for a Zerg, of course, but Creature was the one that put Zerg in the uncomfortable situation last game.
Very true. And I do like to compare it to a toolbox sometimes. You just have a toolbox of different builds. Your screwdriver, you've got your hammer. You maybe got a pair of pliers in there too, and that's going to be your Roach Hydra Ling. It's going to be your Roach Ravager. It's going to be Mutiling, Bling, whatever it's going to be, but you have to be 100% comfortable with every one of those and use them for each job as necessary based on what your opponent is doing. So yeah, if you can bust something out the Protoss player really doesn't want to see, you're going to be in a fantastic position as a Zerg player.
I mean, we saw BioIce do Ling Bane Ling Hydra, and he made the defense against the Archon drop look easy. Now, I don't think he'd always make it look easy. You know, if he goes up against Zest, a master of the Archon drop, I'm sure BioIce has his mistakes and his flaws, but you saw the power of what could be. The Lings, they also provide the counter. The Banelings can jump on an army in the way that Roaches can't and just aren't as easily defended by just Immortals. And if you have that Queen control and that Queen presence, then you can really help take care of the Warp Prism. But Roaches are the more solid way to go. They're usually the safer bets. Just was an unfortunate circumstance that happened last game. So I kind of lean towards Creature doing the same thing. So far he is right at the Stargate. And then I also lean towards Uko doing the same thing, but maybe a little bit faster. Yeah.
Seems fair. I'm okay with that if that's what we end up seeing here. Because yeah, he had the roaches. They just weren't in the right place to defend adequately. So we'll see how this thing goes for both of these players. Oracle in production here for Creature. I'm trying to get some of that harass done. Really should see Uko being prepared for that one there. But just 5 drones at a time, really droning up pretty hard. Going to have a pretty substantial lead on the Protoss player at this point. But Chrono Boost and the ability to continue just making those probes is going to help out immensely in the long run. Is our probe going to make it home? Nope, speed kicks in. Thanks for coming, probe. You are completely dead. No adept to save you this time. And the Oracle's going to go out trying to find something to kill with another Oracle follow-up here too. So double Oracle play still. Are there no Spore Crawlers yet? No Spore Crawlers yet. Kind of feel like he's got to start building them now. There it is. Okay, it's late though. Yeah,
you're right. Maybe he was expecting the Phoenix first again. Ooh, that's going to be painful because his queens were also kind of out of position. They went to go spread creep. Yeah. But pretty instant pull away into the queens means that Oracle's not going to endanger itself. With 2 Oracles, after all, like you would want to try and wait and just glide across some of the edges of the Spore Crawlers, and you probably still get a few drones. This one's going to defend, actually. I thought he still had 2 adepts. They're just chilling in the natural. All right.
I don't know. I don't think they want to open that wall is the thing. Any Protoss player is going to be really worried about leaving that open, even just a teeny tiny bit. Who knows when there are 15 Lings waiting just to break on in there. Regardless, third base coming in quite nicely here. Uko hasn't been able to do really much pressure. Killed a couple probes out across the map, but really nothing to make Creature feel uncomfortable. But we have both of our Oracles out on the field. We're making a Phoenix here too. Likely to come in with that Phoenix, lift the Queen, and try to get some damage done in the process. Will Uko be prepared for it? We don't know, but he is making some queens, and that should help.
So a bit different of order of things. Obviously, Creature did put a lot of emphasis on gateways first last game, which contributed to his his game-winning move basically with the Archon drop. This time it was the third base as a priority. Seems like he feels very comfortable against Uko and his style of play. And with the Oracles, you know, he's going to have that perfect scouting too, well, ideally. So third base first, probably a lot of chrono into the probes. Then he's going to go into the rowboats while they counsel. Maybe still into some Archons first, probably anyways. We see some players bring back the double robo, but he's got that charge on the way.
Yeah, it's going to be the charge, which is so dang good. Trying to throw up an Overseer here. Phoenix will not have enough damage done to kill it before it hatches, and when it hatches, it will have full health, so I'm not really worried about things. Start that scouting, drop the Changeling, and see what information can be found. The double Oracle, I'm really surprised that Phoenix hasn't been involved with this double Oracle play, because it's really just one Queen and one Spore for some of these bases, and a lot of work could be done. But I guess killing the Overseer is also fairly important, but can it see those? Caught a couple of those gateways. Oh, wait, coming back in. Does end up... Okay, got the full scout before it ended up falling. It worked there a little bit better than I thought it was going to.
It's nice to see the gateway count. You know, what if it's 13 gateways, right?
Yeah.
But it is usually expected to see 8s. I guess this time it's going up to 9, 2 plus 7, but... that's the usual time for the production of Protoss. He's getting both of his gases. He's going to go probably directly into that storm. So not much at all about the pressure, just a little bit of Oracle harassment, and that's been it, and into the storm. So more of a 3-base push as he gets the 4th base, and we'll see how Uka does against storms, how his splits are, how his surrounds are. His Baliness wasn't particularly fast. He was using those roaches initially to defend if he needed to. Now he's going to go into Link Baling Hydra, it seems. But you really need to have some very good positional awareness to make this work, especially against Protoss with their big beefy units and their storm that can just melt those.
Yeah, Storm is so dangerous. I really feel like if you're a younger Protoss player, maybe not younger, but just kind of newer to the game, just get Storm in every game. I can't really think of a reason why you'd regret having it in those situations.
I don't think you are. I think you're like trying to tell people like what unit should I make, and they're silver or something, right? And you're just like, Storm. It's pretty good.
Just learn how to use Storm. I think it'll be okay for a while. Oh, Queen does pick off one of the Oracles. 3 more drones go down.
Yeah, at least one has survived. So, just revelating the. It's actually not a verb. I just make it up every time I say it. Cast Revelation on the Hydras is all you really want to do. Not even really need observers if you can get good hits, but. You know, some Zergs, you saw BioAce go for a couple of drops. They can start to get sneaky around this time. They felt like they've survived one of the scarier point of the games where they could be attacked by 2-base all-ins or 3-base heavy pressure, and they're like, okay, now I got this big army, I got Baneling Speed on the way, maybe I can do something now, maybe I should be the one pressuring. And I mean, sometimes they do those drops and it does work out, sometimes it looks kind of silly, but he's going to just go for the straight head-on pressure, it seems. A little bit of a split with these Lings side to side.
I like that. Yeah, I like the Lings threatening, kind of pulling the army out of position here. And really should get out instead of getting ripped apart, but you know what, death is fine too. And actually pulling everything back, getting into position. That does not look like enough Hydras to handle that for sure, especially not with the Storm. Yeah. So very smart to pull back onto the creep, continuing making Hydralisks, getting upgrades for those Lings, 14 Hydras in production, 2 more High Templar for Creature. It's all going to come down to those Storms and the Micro on the Hydras. Can they get out?
You know, if he's gonna stick on Link Baneling Hydra, that might work, but he's really gonna need to get those good surrounds and the multi-pronged harassment, because that army just starts falling off against an army like Creatures. You know, actually Creature being up in supply is just a terrible sign for Uko, who might want to consider just going into a Spire right now and kind of containing Creature. It's not a good contain. The guy still has 4 bases, but maybe he gets a better tech.
For it. He's coming in from the right side. The Storm's dodged pretty well here. Banelings are rolling in. Oh, goodbye. A lot of probes in this 3rd base location, but the main engagement I feel like is going pretty well for Creature in the meantime. Trying to get back to that benefit from that speed boost. Making additional Zerglings here. I don't know if Zergling Hydra on the way. Is it going to be enough? I don't feel like it is, but is he going to continue pushing? His Creature is the question. Going to stop here a little bit. Oh, and he's warping in the main too. Warp Prison does focus down in time, and everybody's going to die to these Zealots. Additional Hydras are coming in. Defender's advantage kicking in quite nicely for Uko, but in the meantime, he's going to lose this base. Supply is plummeting for the Zerg player, and Creature looks like he's got this well in hand.
Yeah, his army is just too good. Even after losing that many probes, he still has 59, which is a decent amount. He did fall behind in upgrades. It's always been one thing he hasn't had for him, but he has storms, he has powerful archons, and he still has a warp prism to warp in those charge lots that are still giving Uko a headache. So
yeah, man, I love the positioning here from these Hydras, getting on the high ground with a nice concave there too, but the storms are just really great. That said, Hydras are starting to pick units off here. Ling's absorbing some shots, not necessarily killing stuff, but doing a lot of work. Archons popping immediately, getting killed, and this initial attack of creatures does get destroyed. Another hatch looks like it might end up falling here. Zealous getting that surround, not worried about getting hit. Drones forced to fight here too, and you know what? The hatch might end up living. Just kidding. A couple more hacks do end up making it fall. Some Hydra showing up, some Broodling Hydra combination. Not something you want to see if you're a Zerg player. Might be able to clean this thing up, but it is 112 to 91 supply. Creature is up, and he's got more stuff coming.
Yeah, he's replaced those probes that he lost, so he's back up to almost full saturation on 4 bases. He just needs to probably transfer a little bit, and his army is still better. As long as he gets some High Templars of Storm again, he doesn't really have to worry, and that seems to be what he's missing. He was so gung-ho about doing the Zealot harassment that he didn't warp in those safety High Templars, and even a couple of Archons are stuck behind pylons, but ultimately his gateway count will kick in so that the nice 9 counts and storms will eventually be regained. He's got at least 1 here, and a good stasis trap on that 3rd base to catch half the Hydras.
Yeah, 5 of them getting stuck in there. The army is not as big as Uko wanted it to be. That said, the number of Archons and Immortals here, that was kind of a weird storm. It hit his army more than anything else. That said, going for it. Got to put some pressure on Creature right now. Banelings crashing in. Do take care of a lot of those Zealots. Hydras come out of stasis just in time to get some retreat done and getting smashed in the face by these Archons too. Oh, there you go. That attack did not succeed. There's the good game. Creature ends up winning and going up 2-0 on his opponent. Uko will move into game 3 here shortly.
Yes, so we might just have 2-3-0s on our plate, but hopefully that means that the finals is really quite good, because then it would be a PVZ as well. There's nothing but PVZs in this tournament, man.
Yeah, I love the PVZ though. It's my favorite matchup of all of them.
Oh, what do you mean?
I main Zerg.
Oh, okay, cool. We don't have a lot of Zerg casters, actually.
Yeah, it's true. I've noticed. What's your favorite matchup?
I mean, anything with Terran, basically, because it's the best race. But
oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
no
ZVP.
Terran representation today either. That's pretty sad then.
Yeah, it is actually. It really is. I enjoy all the matches for Terran, but ZVP is fun. I really do enjoy PvP too. I don't understand it 100%. There's a lot of, I feel like, technicalities to it, just like there is in TVT, but
sure,
I like it more than ZVC.
No, that's fair. So here's the thing about ZVZ. 80% of ZVZs are super boring because it's Ling Bling or just Roach Roach. But if you get past the 12, 13, 14-minute mark in those matchups, it suddenly gets really fun. That's where I like to see it.
Yeah, I prefer the Ling Baneling stuff. So it's more like the first 5 minutes of the game are really exciting for me, and then I'm like, nah, roaches.
Oh, but what about past the roaches though? Because that's when you get to see broodlords and vipers and lurkers and a lot of start to show up.
That's really late game. I don't even know how many ZVZs you get to cast that go that late in the game. There is something to be said about the beauty of good roach handlers, but we'll talk about that maybe after introductions, as I'm sure these guys will be going to the macro game again. It's on Redshift this time though, which is an odd map. In the top left down 2, it is Uko.
And in the bottom left here on a Redshift from Psystorm Gaming, it is Creature.
Yeah.
I mean, I did casting with Gauntlet last week. We had who was it? Snoot and True, I want to say it was, in a ZVZ that went over 40 minutes, and it was some of the most fun ZVZ I've ever cast. It was a ton of fun. But like you said, it's such a rarity, but when it gets there, there's almost nothing I like more.
That can be very fun because it is such a rarity. It's even hard to guess what happens. I've liked a couple of Cyril ZVZs. He makes Roach Ravager not look like just who has the better concave wins.
Right.
There's some serious micro and decision making that goes into it. So it's not like it's a bad matchup. The last time that there was a truly bad matchup that I just always died a little inside when I had to cast it was Heart of the Swarm PVZ. I thought it was atrocious. It was so many of the same thing over and over again. That's the infamous I fell on the floor and I drunk cast and I called the Protoss correctly because it was just such a repetitive matchup. And I know we have a lot of like repeat builds in these series here today and yesterday. It doesn't always work out that way. You know, a lot of Protosses throw in a Resident Glaives opener or Fast 2 Stargate and some of the more macro-oriented maps. And the Zergs have, you know, their own, toolbox full of cheese, I guess you would say. So
Sure. Well, and Lurkers too, Broodlords. I've said before, I'm not sure there are many units in ZVP that just aren't viable, if you think about it. Like, are there any units you just cannot make as a Zerg or a Protoss in this matchup that you never see? I mean, you get Broodlords, Corruptors, Tempests, High Templar, Dark Templar, Archons, Zealots, Roaches, Ravagers, I mean, Immortals. Kind of seems like everything has a place depending on what's going on in the matchup.
yeah, it's a good point. I mean, sometimes it goes like the meta shift, right? They see more lurker-based play than other times, or
Sure.
you have people who really don't like roaches in the early game, so you like, won't see them ever make them. But you're right, like everything works here. I was gonna say maybe Infestors, but even Infestors with Neural could be used in the Supreme late game.
Yep, for sure. So that's one of the reasons I just like this matchup most of all. So this is Redshift. It's a weird map. And the few games that I've cast on it and played on it, it's just odd. And it kind of makes me sad. A lot of players are vetoing it just because of the cheese potential that is available. But I really love along that left side, just these little gold bases where you can harvest, but then you leave yourself open to getting harassed on the backside. And it just makes it, I don't know, adds a new element to the game that I feel like I haven't seen in a little bit.
Well, yeah, there's always something to be said about new and different maps. We have arenas, we have Dash and Terminal, we have all these weird maps that always make into play. And Blizzard clearly loves putting a weird map into play, but
True.
I don't blame people for when they veto it. I personally have only played like 5 games because everyone else vetoes this map. So
yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I mean, talk about it. There's a couple, well, obviously the StarCraft subreddit is pretty active talking about the new maps, and there's some Discord servers I'm part of too, and it seems universal. Everybody's like, I'm vetoing Redshift and Darkness Sanctuary, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. So let's talk about the build a little bit here. This time we had Creature go for a much faster charge. So the Council was put down a lot faster, and he's going for a lot of gateways. So it's a good old-fashioned 2-base charge all in, as opposed to, you know, when we saw the Robo, Twilight Council, Probes, Nexus, Double Gas. And I point out Double Gas specifically because Uko has seen a lack of a 4th gas. He hasn't really dipped in to see the 3rd. And when I saw the timing of the Robo, he didn't see the timing of the Twilight Council. So he's got like half the information here. And unfortunately, that's probably going to be him dying because he doesn't have the full 100%. And he's probably not even thinking about it right now. He's probably thinking of all the mistakes he made in the last 2 games, the macro games, that this is just going to blindside him.
Yeah, and it's not good to get blindsided. Let's just make that very clear. I'd love to see, the Overlord just come sneak on in. There's nothing that can kill you down there, man. Just get a scout and check that other gas, see what's going on with the other buildings involved, but just seems content to hang out and watch this front door more than anything else.
It looks like that might be enough. He's making a lot of roaches, so he wasn't making anything, and I was like, oh, wait, maybe does he know? He had a lot of room for roaches, and he's making 14. This is what he needs to do. So he might have just had enough information, and this might go poorly for Creature, but one of the things about Charge Lot Lanes is that it's never about the first attack. It's always about the second wave, so
yes,
Yuko still has to be very careful with what he does here.
Yeah, he just needs to set the roaches in the mineral line, not allow a surround by the Zealots. This is pretty good too, though, on the top of the ramp. Setting up Gotlings to absorb some of the damage here. The roaches at the back doing what they normally do. Got 4 more roaches in production here too, and losing 0 drones. That's kind of key here, is you can throw away some units for the most part, but losing the drones is not what you can afford. Zealot trying to get rid of that Spore Crawler can't quite finish his mission before he is picked off by those roaches.
This is really nice. Creature is just down in the gutter in terms of supply. He's going to go for the follow-up all in, but I really think that Phoenix is supposed to take out this Overlord. Again, it's got like half the amount of scouting, but it seemed to be perfect enough for Uko. The no 4th gas was probably a telltale sign enough. So, well timed with the Roach Warren.
Too many roaches. Spore Crawler's actually coming down here to burrow and get some shots off, almost picking off that Warp Prism. It does manage to escape, but it is down to 3 hit points, which is not where you'll want to be. And maybe trying to find somewhere else to warp in here, but Uko has responded perfectly to this Zealot charge lot all in.
Oh, you give us so much to do this. The gas is being first and foremost. He's going to try and pump out Immortals because he knows that Roaches is what Uko is depending on. And Uko did delay he delayed his lair, he delayed his upgrades. He's missing some things too, but to just absolutely punch that attack in the face, cause Creature to look like a fool, That's a very good start. Good on him for actually paying attention to his scouting and not getting caught up in the rest of the series.
Yeah, agreed. Being down at this point doesn't seem to have ruined his focus at all. And this third base might actually go down. The Roach is not quite prepared for this. Zealots get it. They're all going to die, but killing that hatchery is exactly what Creature needed to get back into this game. Let's see how fast it gets replanted by Uko, because that's kind of a sign of a player that's on the up and coming. Yeah, there's that instant replant. Very nicely done. And shouldn't hurt him too badly, but Creature definitely needed to make that happen.
I think he just realized the Overlord is here, which is so weird because he could actually kind of see it. Like, it wasn't perfectly hidden. So, I'm pretty sure that was the Phoenix's sole job, was to, like, not let them see the timings and the lack of gas timing, but rip. That plan did not work out, but he has gotten to a competition that is typically very good against roaches. So if Uko were to think, okay, I need to kill him right now before he comes back with Storm, he could make a huge mistake. There's a couple of chokes you can use on Redshift and Sentries of Force Fields and Immortals. That's pretty good. We've known that for the last 8 years of StarCraft. So I like that Uko instead kind of just accepts the loss of the third base and goes for a double expand and then goes for Hydras.
Yeah.
That's a safer option here.
Yeah, like that very, very much. That second expand really shows where his mentality is. Get ahead, get more ahead, get those Hydras, get the upgrades for the Hydralisks, and then try to overwhelm Creature a little bit later. The immediate counterattack odds of succeeding are maybe not as good as some lower level players would assume. Yeah, continuing to pump those Immortals, those Templar Archives, just about complete from Creature here as well. And Zergling production from Uko. Do love the Zerglings against this high Immortal count that we're seeing. A couple of Adepts managed to get in and get some stuff done. Man, that Warp Prism is brave with the low HP that he's rolling with. I've actually thought about that with Warp Prisms. Are they just robots?
I think they're just robots like probes.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And Oracles, maybe.
Well, Oracles are, well, they have a feminine voice, I guess is what you could say.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, I was playing the Heart of the Storm campaign, and Oracles actually say, there's an Oracle that says stuff in one of the levels there. Weird. It was just kind of...
Oh, that's not a lot of force fields, and he kind of already led a lot of the army through. Those are better, but the Corrosive Biles come down, and he didn't have Storm. He's like 20 seconds away from it. That definitely could have helped here, but Creature went for what he thought it might be an easy 3-0, and instead got perfectly countered, so that does happen.
Yeah, these Hydras, Ravagers, Roaches, too much. Immortals are good, but not that good, especially with Wings rolling in to get that wraparound from the backside. The third base is going to fall, and Creature taps out with the GG. Staying alive is Uko, and we're going to move on in to a game at number 4 here.
Nice. So no double 3-0, but a lot of that was the decision-making of Creature. He probably just goes back into a regular macro game. He might have done that actually because it was Redshift. It's a weirder map. He didn't want to play a macro game on it, but also good tonight because he thought he'd get a quick 3-0. But next game, I really feel it's back to macro.
Yeah, for sure. What is our next map, by the way? Pulling it up here.
Acid Plant.
Acid Plant. Okay, so definitely does lend itself to more macro style games. So Creature might be a little bit more comfortable. We'll see. We will see. But yeah, the organizer of the event, where did he go? He was in chat just a minute ago, said there are something like 8 Terrans in the next Destruction Gaming Invitational. So maybe overcompensating a little bit.
Yeah, he said there would be more Terrans, and I think someone else responded with in before 8 Terrans appear.
Yeah. So that should be good. It is nice. I mean, part of what's great about StarCraft is there are 3 races that are effectively very well balanced, which is something you don't see a lot in the RTSs, especially back in the day. But let's get on in here to Acid Plant.
Yeah, in the bottom right, bringing the point on the board, at least one. It is the red Zerg, Uko.
And spotting in the top left, really trying to focusing back in on this game, is going to be the blue Protoss player from Psystorm Gaming, Creature.
Got some lore masters in here. I was pretty sure the Oracles talked a bit, but saying that they're specifically piloted by female Nerazim. Here we go.
Well, that's... Oh, Oracles. I was thinking Sentries. Was I saying Oracles?
I was like, I'm pretty sure most people know how obnoxious Oracles, like... Yep. I don't know, just because they're such obnoxious units for me, I know what they say. Oracle receiving, all that stuff.
Oh, I was thinking Sentries, little robot Sentries that just make little sound.
Okay. So I was also surprised when you were like, they talk in the campaign, and I was like, I mean, they kind of talk usually, right? But
Yeah, the silence kind of should have teed me off that something was wrong. And something was definitely wrong. We got it. We got it fixed.
okay, yeah. Sentries are robots as well, as far as I know. Yes, they're
Yes.
not piloted.
Yes. Anyway.
I think disruptors aren't piloted as well. They're also robots.
Yes, I believe you're right.
Yeah, the more we think on this. But why? Why not just make every army... If their fighters could be so good without piloting, why don't they just make every unit not piloted?
Yeah, that's the question. There have been a lot of movies that have kind of dealt with that. One, Surrogates, I remember, with Bruce Willis a few years ago. It didn't really focus on this, but yeah, future warfare is just you're piloting robots into battle, so nobody's actually dying. You're just kind of losing property.
Yeah, which seems like it just is the natural... Like, it should be the natural way of things. It should be the natural way of Protoss, but... You know, have you ever heard, like, you know, Protoss, technically they never invented the wheel, so... They're just like pretty dumb. I mean, they can hover and they make spheres for the disruptors, but they never actually made a wheel.
How advanced can they be? It's a great question.
How far can you get in civilization without researching the wheel? You know, pretty far.
Pretty far, it turns out. Maybe they just abandoned it. Maybe they used the wheel to really great effect, and then we're like, hovering is much better.
They should put zealots on wheels. Rollerblades.
Oh my gosh. If Blizzard made Zealots have a rollerblade skin...
Oh, that's the most perfect one for them, though. I mean, they have, like, Nova on rollerblades and Heroes. That'd be perfect to put on Zealots.
Oh, someone contact Blizzard real quick. Get that in the works.
Exactly. God forbid we ever get some fun StarCraft 2 skins, though. It's all StarCraft 2 themed StarCraft 2 skins. It's just, you know, fun and all, but...
Well, it's all spikes and knives. Like, we put knives on tanks, for heaven's sakes. That's
and
how
dinosaurs and
Yep.
different colors and Oracle beach balls. Just...
Yeah.
It's not really the coolest thing, you know, ever, but it's okay. I'll take whatever skins we can get.
True. Could be worse. Could be worse. All right, so Oracle heading on out here. Speaking of Oracles, Phoenix clearing out the scouting overlord. No big deal. Decides instead of running away, might as well get in and get what scouting information he can. Sees the gas timing. That's pretty nice. The creature to allow him to see the gas timing before he dies.
Yeah.
Are Immortals fully robotic?
No.
I don't know about Immortals.
They're actually the bodies of fallen zealots, I want to say. Or no, fallen stalkers, sorry. Dragoons are fallen zealots.
Yeah. I knew that one, but... Okay, so stalkers that fall get turned into Immortals.
Yes, that's what I remember anyway. Someone can fact check me and I wouldn't mind.
That's quite an upgrade. I'm sure somebody will know. There's a big discussion going on in chat right now.
Yeah.
Meh. So Overlords are going home. Phoenix are out, and they are real and spectacular. Roachborn coming up here. Spore Crawler 2. Nothing to kill here at the third base. You mentioned that previously. That's something Zerg players do, is just don't saturate the third if they can't protect what's there. So far, Uko doing that well. Overlord trying to come home, getting picked off. Queen thought about trying to save it. 2 queens, in fact. Couldn't quite pull it off here. Queen's off creep, which I'm kind of worried about. If the Oracle swings back around into the main base and tries to get some damage done, where are those queens?
It's a good point. There's not a ton of drones to take out, though, and Spore Crawler's there to protect most of them, but he could glide across and probably even grab 3. There you go. Uga sees it and just pulls away.
Stasis Ward, nicely done pulling one of the drones out to catch that stasis. That was excellent work. Picking off a couple drones here and there, though. Just a Spore Crawler can't protect the workers from the damage. And Oracle swinging back out to come back in another time.
So 6 warp gates, before that third nexus. And Uga did grab sight on the timing of that nexus, too, which is quite important. He clearly knows how to respond to what he scouts. But he's actually, like, last game, it was definitely a scouting thing. Like, he knew it was what was coming. He defended well. This game, he's just going to make a lot of roaches and lings that if there was a zealot attack, I guess he'd be prepared, too. But this is more about him being offensive, trying to hit creature before he's quite ready to go. But this might not be the timing he was hoping for. Charge is done, and all of the warp gates are done. But there's no Archons quite made yet. He's not going after them. And the Nexus, it's not that far along. Even if it gets canceled, I'm not sure that's a great, super cool, great, fantastic kill. Not even gonna get canceled.
I mean, there's no way he's going to get it. The Oracle clearing out these roaches pretty well. Charge Lots chasing these guys, too. It's just how many Zealots can you take with you? Roach buddies, and the answer is a couple, not that many. Some Lings trying to come in too. The Archon's just absolutely wrecking them. Couldn't get through the wall. The wall is being held by ye old Bob the Zealot, and it looks like Uko's attack is getting shoved away pretty easily.
Yeah, that was not a worthwhile endeavor. Roaches, they're they're solid, but they're also quite useless. They don't have a lot of speed, they don't have a lot of micro. They take up a lot of money because they also cost gas as well. Not that he was going to make many more, perhaps. He has been transitioning into lane baneling Hydra, but that was just a waste of larva, really, so not too great there. And now he still will have to deal with potential Archon drops floating around, although the Archons are at home, just Adepts in the Warp Prism.
Yeah, that is one thing that Uko's attack did, was keep most of creature stuff at home, allowing the 4th base to get up quite nicely, allowing Hydra production to begin here too. But here comes the Warp Prism. This is just a single attack. He doesn't have to worry about the multi-pronged. Queen all ready to go here. Oh man, not going to be able to set up and warp in any more stuff for the time being. There we go. Zergling setting up with a decent surround. Adept's not going to be able to do too much here at all, and Warp Prism not able to get anything with the follow-up. It's going to have to be the army coming across the map, coming to threaten the creep at the very least, and we'll see what they can do.
Now, notably, Creature has not added a lot of probes. He's like, you stop probe production for a while, but you usually pick it up and are consistent once your 3rd base is done. He also hasn't gotten any gas geysers here, so Creature is looking to do quite a bit of damage with this. The sacrifice, like, if he doesn't do damage, he's gonna have a later storm and not as good of an economy. But Uko has severely overdroned, I think. It's 72 drones and 4 bases. Doesn't have a lot of fodder for these Hydras.
The drones are fighting too, which is not what you want to see
no.
at all if you happen to be the Uko. Hydra's coming from the right side. If they can sit back here and do some damage without taking hits themselves, might be okay. But 21-23 drones going down, warping an additional Zealots at the front here. Drones running for their lives. 8 more Hydras in production behind this. Drones actually doing okay for just a second. Delaying, but I don't know. We've got an Immortal and a bunch of Sentries here with a couple Zealots. Is it going to be in a bad rally on the Hydras? Where are they going? Uko, no! And that's the Grats. Well played with the hearts. Out of the Zerg player. Creature is going to move on, and we will have Protoss representation.
Nice. Yeah, the drone pool, like, he could obviously lose quite a few and still be okay, but he lost so much, and he lost his army. A little bit greedy there, and Creature had a very well-timed attack to punish him. So now he'll be going on to face Bio Ice and another PVZ, so these guys both warmed up in this matchup. They still have to do their vetoes and whatnot, so we're actually going to go ahead and take a little bit of a break while they do that. No more than 2 minutes, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, guys.